Donald Trump is unlike any president that we've ever had before, but that's not the story that the media has ever been interested in telling. To the media, Donald Trump is evil. Forget about the fact that half the country really seems to like him. Donald Trump is evil, and their coverage must reflect that evil, no matter what he does. And for over 200 years, American presidents have been putting their own touches on the White House, a building that we didn't even call the White House until 1902, when Teddy Roosevelt started referring to the old executive mansion as the White House, and that nickname stuck. And typically when a president changes things to the White House, taxpayer money is used in some form. In fact, we couldn't find a single example in American history where a president did a major project at the White House where taxpayer money wasn't used, until Donald Trump. But the media doesn't care about that part of the story. Not only does Donald Trump not take a salary, but he's going to put his mark on the White House and he's going to pay for it himself.
We are going to make and build a ballroom, which they've wanted for probably 100 years at the White House. And it'll be a world-class, beautiful ballroom.
He says he will pay for it himself. You will fund it.
Yeah, I'm not going to ask the government for money. I'll fund it, and I'm sure we'll have some donations to it.
I want you to focus on the media's obsession with Donald Trump liking the color gold. We'll get to that in a moment. But first, starting in September, construction is going to begin on a new $200 million ballroom that will be in the East Wing. And the project will expand the ballroom from its current 200-seat capacity to 700 seats. Think about that. For 200 years, the White House could only host 200 people at a time in the ballroom. 200 people is a lot of people, but not really. A lot of weddings have 200 people. This is also a project that several previous administrations have wanted to do. They've talked about doing, but they could never pull it off because they wanted to win re-election and they didn't want the negative press attention that would go along with using taxpayer money to put on a new ballroom to the White House. Not the case with Donald Trump, but because the media has to cover everything Donald Trump does as evil, CNN is now also outraged by the actual design of the ballroom that Donald Trump is paying for himself. And the fact that the color gold is going to be used. Gold, which must be an evil color.
And you can see from the renderings here from the White House is expected to be about 90,000 square feet, much in the president's style, gold and crystal chandeliers, gilded Corinthian columns, coffered ceiling with gold inlays as well.
Gold and crystal chandeliers, gilded columns. You mean like the multi-million-dollar house you just bought on Nantucket, Caitlin Collins? Guess what, CNN? It's okay to have nice things. It's okay to like nice things. The White House is a nice place. And Donald Trump is adding this new ballroom to the White House, the most famous building in America, certainly the most famous house in America. He's also paying for the project himself. What does CNN expect him to do? Cut corners? Yes, Donald Trump reportedly got several estimates from local contractors in and around Washington, several illegal aliens. The windows to save money were going to be renewal by Anderson or Pella or maybe Marvin, but instead, to save money, they're just going to be screens. So it's going to be more like a screened-in porch, three-season ballroom. And the furniture, the White House is going to use IKEA. It's going to be wall-to-wall IKEA. They did find at Walmart red, white, and blue and gold lava lamps. Would that make CNN happy? Would that be okay, CNN, if Trump did that? The reality is that anything that's done to the White House has to be done well. The windows can't just be regular windows. They've got to be bulletproof. And you can't just give that contract to anyone. The company has to be thoroughly vetted for security purposes. But none of that seems to matter to CNN. It typically doesn't. To them, instead of this being a story about a president doing something that future Democrat presidents will benefit from too, Donald Trump redoing the ballroom at the White House is somehow a controversy that's going to tip our beloved nation into another Great Depression.
This ballroom will absolutely alter the grounds of the White House and the South Lawn in a major way that can't be changed when another president is in office.
Yeah, well, and we'll see what the construction looks like.
Yeah, this ballroom will absolutely alter the White House. Oh, really, CNN? You mean like when Democrat Harry Truman completely gutted the White House in the 1940s to the point where Harry had to move out of the White House and then fundamentally change the exterior of the building, adding the Truman balcony? You mean like that, CNN?
You decided the White
Yes.
House needed to be renovated?
Yes, this is, my studies right over this, and I had a tray brought to me for luncheon one day. I was here by myself. The family were at home, and the floor bounced up and down, and I had an engineer and an architect to come in, and they moved me out.
And that was the beginning of
That
the
was the beginning.
renovation.
Yes, Harry. Not the most electric guy, Harry Truman. What about Teddy Roosevelt? You think he might have altered the White House a little bit when he literally bulldozed half the property and then added the West Wing, which you're looking at, and the modern-day Oval Office? You think that might have altered the White House grounds just a little bit? CNN? What about when Jackie Kennedy spent millions of dollars, much of it donations, on redoing the entire interior of the White House, then to make it okay, gave the country a tour of the entire project on TV?
This is the corridor that leads across the White House to the State Dining Room.
That's right. I rather love this hall. It has all the colors one thinks of when one thinks of the White House. Red and white and blue and gold.
Oh, wait, did you hear that? Jackie Kennedy just said gold. Red, white, blue, and gold. Can you believe that, CNN? Jackie Kennedy, Democrat icon, fashion taste icon, JFK's wife, likes the color gold, the same color that evil Donald Trump likes. I think Jackie Kennedy would actually approve of the Trump ballroom. And what about that giant hole in the ground for 5 years, right in front of the West Wing during the Obama administration? No one seemed to care or even notice when Barack Obama spent unknown millions to build a bunker under the West Wing, or at least we think that's what was going on, because no one ever told the public what was actually happening. CNN didn't really care about that when it was going on because it wasn't Donald Trump. But if you are CNN and Donald Trump is putting in a privately funded addition to the East Wing of the White House, it has to be a controversy.
He is proposing building this major addition here. He says to the tune of $200 million for a price tag, which he says both he and private donors will pay for. But again, really putting his stamp and imprint on this historic building, not to mention his major renovations in the Rose Garden, essentially paving that over as well. Jake.
Yeah, I thought we were trying to reduce spending. Anyway, Jeff Zeleny, thanks so much.
Well, Jake didn't have a thought there, really. He knew he had to kind of nail Trump a little bit. I thought we were trying to reduce spending. Ooh, any hoodly. Jeff Zeleny at the White House. Great job there. He's got gold in the White House, too, by the way. Gold, that color gold, by the way. Jeff, great work as always. Great reporting. If Joe Biden were doing the exact same thing and paying for him himself, this would be the biggest political story in America. Joe Biden would be celebrated for being the first president to privately finance a major project at the White House. But because it is a Donald Trump project, and because everything Donald Trump does has to be controversial, two things are now happening. CNN has become a national punchline, and Donald Trump is having the most successful start to a second term, arguably, in American history. And guess what? He and Melania will be able to toast to that in that brand new ballroom.